Hey, and welcome back to another creepy TikTok. If you're enjoying these videos, please make sure that you're commenting, and subscribing. Once we reach 100 subscribers, we're going to be having a giveaway, so make sure that you're in it. Alright,
Shocking plot twists in history. Stick around to the end because you won't believe this one, but it's true. Back in 1958, a gifted 16-year-old student was attending Harvard University when he was accepted into a 3-year-long psychological experiment. This study was being run by psychologist Henry Murray, who gave the young man the codename Lawful. What Lawful didn't know was that Murray's experiment was actually part of the CIA's sinister psychological program known as MK Ultra. This particular experiment was designed to test the effects of stress on the human psyche. The CIA wanted to know how far you can mentally push someone before they cracked. In the experiment, the 22 Harvard test subjects, including Lawful, were first asked to write a detailed essay, in which they summarized their worldview and personal philosophy. But after that, a team of trained interrogators under Dr. Murray's guidance proceeded to subject these students to harsh and personally abusive interrogations designed to destroy their worldview and psychologically destroy them. By the time the experiment was over, Lawful was completely disillusioned and emotionally scarred. Later in life, Lawful would form a new view of the world and begin to write it all down. You may have even read some of his manifesto. You see, that's because Lawful's real name was Theodore Kaczynski, better known as the Unabomber.
This man found a $20 bill with a watermark of a horned George Bush.
And I just believe that it needs to get out of the Ohio Valley and let others know about it. And what it is in this religious book Bible of mine I've had for a long time, is a $20 bill. And most of these $20 bills, which when this came out in 2004, the watermark is Jackson and Jackson. Well, the day I got this bill, we were all looking at the light because it was a brand new bill. And as we were looking at it, it was Jackson, Jackson. We clearly saw the bill. And I have a lot of friends that, witnessed this bill at the time when I got it. Well, that evening I took it home and I wanted to put it in my Angel Book Bible as a bookmarker because I didn't have my other Angel bookmarker, and I basically just took it and I stuck it in the book and went to sleep like that and thought nothing of it. So the next morning I went to get up to use that $20 bill for gas. And as I did, I couldn't believe what I saw when I looked at the light the final time. When I looked with the watermark, it looked more, instead of Jackson now, it looked as this Bush. And Bush is our president, and the difference is it has a horn on the head now. So when I saw this, I ran out of the house, I went to tell people, and I told the news story and everything else, and everybody was just freaking out because they couldn't believe what was on my image of my bill. First thing they said was, is it real? I said, yeah, it's real, it's the same bill. So I took it to different banks and had the news station take it to banks and stuff, and what you're about ready to see is, on this bill is, you're going to notice that this watermark isn't Jackson, it is Bush. And as I take it up here, I'm going to have to show you in the light here what you will see. And as he's showing it to you, I'm going to get another bill for the exact same year and show you what it's supposed to look like and what that looks like.
Let's take a closer look.
You see clearly in the watermark is the image of Bush. The nose, the chin, the eyes, there's a horn coming from the head. And the news stories that I have support that.
See it.
It's been on News 9, News 7. It's been in regular articles, online stories, which I can submit that all with my story. And every time I try to submit the story outside of Ohio Valley, somehow or somewhere it seems to stop my story.
Everything that we do, the babies we eat,
See, their colors are coming out. They can't even keep their own secrets secret any longer. These are the side effects of living these satanic lifestyles. You start glitching, you start going crazy. It's this paranoia about being the most powerful, intelligent, and cunning person. It's like eventually that's the very thing that will ruin you. Pride, arrogance, that's what it is. Like this mentality of you being superior. You don't achieve Christ consciousness by forcing it. It's the opposite. You allow it, but no, you needed to do it by forcing. Reap the consequences. Lay in that bed that you made for yourself.
Monster snake caught on camera.
Do you know Granny was based on a true story? Tamara Samsonova, also known as Granny Ripper, held her son captive in her house. If he made any sound, she would brutally beat him with a bat, and on the 5th day, she killed him by hanging. Granny had 11 victims, including her husband and her grandson. She was seen carrying their body parts in shopping bags on camera from her apartment.
The worst torture techniques ever used. The impalement. Reputed to be Prince Vlad III's favorite torture, impalement consisted of sitting a person on the end of a pointed trunk. Gravity then slowly impaled the victim. The flaying. Also known colloquially as skinning, it is a method of slow and painful execution in which skin is removed from the body. The brazen bull. It was an instrument of torture perfected in ancient Greece. The principle is simple. Victims are locked inside a bronze bull and roasted alive by a fire lit beneath them. Goat tickle torture. This method of torture was practiced in ancient Rome. Salt was sprinkled on the victim's feet and a goat licked them until they bled. The heretic's fork. This terrible object was used in the Middle Ages. Placed around a prisoner's neck, the fork prevented him from falling asleep, on pain of being stabbed in the sternum and throat.
This is how these pictures make actual sense and are real. She was wearing these Prada heels. You can see it right here in this picture. Also, this is from the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards. But see here, this is a 5-inch heel with almost a 2-inch platform. But she's even slouching in this picture. So let's say the heels give her like 7 inches. When I Google it, it says she's 5'11", so with the heels, she would be 6'6". Now Google says that Bruno Mars is 5'5". Here he is getting out of a sedan. You can tell by the wheel that it's a Cadillac. This Cadillac is 59.5 inches, and 59.5 inches is like 4'11", 5 feet almost. And he's not much taller than the car itself. It gets crazier though. This is what the Jackie account had to add. I've seen a lot of people talk about this theory. Here's what she said.
But then I saw this picture of him walking next to a Lincoln Navigator. And the diameter or the height of the wheels of a 2016 Lincoln Navigator is 20 to 22 inches. So the wheel of this Lincoln Navigator is hitting him like very high quad. So let's just say that like he's 2.5 Lincoln Navigator wheels tall. So if he's 2.5 Lincoln Navigator wheels tall, and a Lincoln Navigator of this model has 21-inch diameter wheels, then he is 5'2.5".
Now here is them standing next to each other on the same night. I really just think that the camera angles were really crazy. And she still has her heels on, and then he's wearing a hat in this picture. So that is all of the height math about this picture. Let me know if you liked this, and follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more content. It really helps when you interact.
This 800-year-old book contains one of the most cursed images on the planet. So I already know that some of you are going to say this guy looks like he's straight out of South Park. But some historians say that this is the most accurate portrait of the devil ever drawn. I'm going to tell you more about it, but if you want the full deep dive and a couple other scary stories, check out this week's episode. This is the book. It's known as the Devil's Bible, and it's the largest surviving book from the Middle Ages. For reference, it's 3 feet long and 165 pounds. Historians can tell it was written by one person, and they think it would have taken 20 years to write, but the legend says that it was written in one night. The story goes that back in the 1200s, there was a monk that was sentenced to death. He was going to be walled alive, which is where you stand in place and they build this little coffin around you, and then you just wait to die. But the monk pleaded with the judge and said, if you let me live, I will write the entirety of human knowledge into one book, and I'll do it in one night. The judge agreed, but a few hours after the monk started writing, he realized he wasn't going to be able to finish that night. He ended up making a pact with the devil so that he could finish the book in one evening. And in return, he drew an accurate portrait of the devil he saw inside of the book. It's also believed that anyone who's ever owned the book has also been cursed, which I get into in the episode, so check it out.
Every single zodiac, all of those signs are demons. And you putting on the personality and accepting who that zodiac is and that personality is you becoming more and more and manifesting more into that demon.
Kill me, they said. Thing is, the way that this cloning works, okay, there's 2 different kinds of cloning, and it confuses people. Now, there's replication cloning where it comes up as a baby, right? Put the cells in, make the same person as a baby. Well, there's duplication cloning as well, where they grow you in a big, thick tank full of water. And well, there's a few different grades of cloning. There's Mark 1 to 4. that I know of. And the problem I'm having is with the Mark II. Thing is, Mark I was around.
The Illuminati, with the power of the government, has hijacked the Marvel Universe to lower your belief in yourself. Now, I am sure you're familiar with the idea of parallel universes, the idea that if you make a decision, there's another whole universe where you made a different decision, there's a whole different version of you. And in Marvel, there's a lot of this, like different characters and stuff. In one of the comics, it is stated that in our universe, Earth 1218, the laws of physics are so strict that no one is able to have any superpowers. So what I mean by that when I say our universe, I mean you and me and everyone else. The comic says that if any of these characters went through a portal and came into our universe, they would lose their powers because of the laws of physics in our universe. Now, I believe that the Illuminati made this comic book to discourage you from becoming your own superhero with the powers of chi energy. Now, you might be wondering, what is chi energy? Well, it is the same thing as the Force in Star Wars. It is the thing that surrounds us, it penetrates us, and it combines everything together. Now, I suspect that there are people around the world who have learned how to harness this chi energy and become their own superhuman person with super abilities. They've got to be out there, and maybe we'll see them sometime. Or maybe I will start to shoot fireballs out of my hands someday, or something else. Who knows?